Hello everyone, I'm day weather meteorologist Don Day with your Public Lands Council weekly weather update for this April 9th, 2022. It's being brought to you by WSR Insurance Services Incorporated and Ag Risk Advisors. Well, folks, the weather is going to be interesting over the next week, and anytime a meteorologist says the word interesting, well, that means there's some type of storm a-brewing, and there is that potential. So we want to really get the word out to all livestock interest, especially in the central and northern Rockies and the northern plains, that we may have a high impact winter storm, meaning here we are in April. A lot of times in April we'll get storms with just rain and a little bit of snow, but this will be a cold system, so it may mostly be snow for many of you. And it could be impactful with snow, strong winds, cold wind chills, certainly a situation where young and weak livestock will be at risk. There's a lot of things that need to come together for this storm, but it does need to be watched very carefully. It looks like this storm system is going to slow down the jet stream pattern and will be a slow mover. The good news is it's going to bring badly needed precipitation to many areas, but it's a double-edged sword. The precipitation will come mostly in the form of snow and a lot of wind. And we all have been sick in many areas of the nation over the last week with a lot of wind, and there'll be wind with this system as well. Now, next week is going to be colder as well. It is not going to feel like April over a large part of the U.S., especially the western and central United States will be much colder than average for the next 7 to 10 days, starting later this weekend. Now, over the past week, we've gotten a little bit of moisture. The Pacific Northwest has done well, and while this is nothing heavy, this has been some nice precipitation to see across Montana, Wyoming, parts of Colorado, back into Idaho and Utah. We saw the heaviest precipitation with the storm that made it so windy up into the upper Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. The windstorm that came through the high plains of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska, and the Dakotas, and into western Iowa and Missouri was just miserable. Those winds persistent and strong for 3 days. Now, the good news is we will see those winds move away, but we'll have that next week storm to deal with wind. So precipitation, seen a little bit of it. Driest conditions have been where they've been lately in the central plains, but you can see above average precipitation right there. Looking at the latest drought monitor, it has changed very little. However, the next storm system that we see coming could really help in these areas right here. This is where the heaviest precipitation is going to fall. So some of these drought areas, we do see some relief coming over the next week to 10 days. Now let's show you how things will evolve. This is where we are for the start of this video. We have the storm that made it so windy moving slowly into the Great Lakes and Northeast, still producing a lot of wind in the Great Lakes in the east, but we do see a little bit of a gap in the weather very briefly here for the beginning of the weekend, with a cold front coming through the Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington areas, bringing some rain and snow and even thunder this weekend, and into Monday and some cooler weather. But this area of low pressure right here is going to be instigating a developing storm into the Great Basin by Tuesday and Wednesday. And by Wednesday, this is where we're looking at this storm system forming over eastern Colorado. Now, in the spring, an eastern Colorado strong storm system has the ability to pull in Gulf of Mexico moisture and drag in very cold Canadian air. So this is a recipe for a large storm to form in the central high plains and Rockies. This would be basically as early as Tuesday, but especially late Tuesday through all of Wednesday. Notice we have sunny skies and high pressure in the east and high pressure along the west coast. And what this tends to do is bottle up the storm and make it a slow mover in the western United States. So this is where livestock interests, calving and lambing operations, anyone that's already got calves and lambs on the ground, watch this storm carefully. There's a lot of cold air with it and a lot of moisture. Again, this moisture is badly needed. You can see all the yellow and orange in this swath right here. This is where the heaviest precipitation the storm is likely going to be. There may be some northward or southward shift in the axis of heavier moisture, but look how much of it is going to fall in the form of snow. Quite a bit of it across North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado, southeastern areas of Montana, and going into the upper Midwest. So this is an area in particular where the combination of snow, cold, and wind will be a concern. As we take a look at temperatures, look how cold it is. Over the next week, from basically the recording of this video through next Saturday, temperatures are going to be far below normal in most of the north central and all of the western United States. So this time of year, your average high temperatures are getting into the 50s and the 60s across the west, but we're looking at maybe temperatures some 30 degrees off those normals for a few days in a row. So be prepared. We'll see you next week, and we'll see how that storm came together.